For the single point dart, you'll cut one pattern piece of self, face down. You'll transfer your notch markings. You'll also transfer your punch hole. In this case, I've marked with pen and circled it so you can see more clearly. However, that's not a great choice to do on a finished garment. So what we would do is take our awl or our stiletto and we punch right through it. This is going to damage the fabric, so you have to be very careful about that. In the commercial world, they'll use a big drill that punches all the way through many layers of fabric, and it's a permanent mark that will not go away. I've already clipped my notches. With the fabrics faces together, align the notches. We'll use the fold line and the back off to indicate our fold right here. From the notches to 1/2 inch beyond the back off, we'll sew in a straight line off the edge of the fabric and backstitch at the point. It can be quite challenging to sew on a diagonal close to the edge and to be accurate. Here's something that will make it a little bit easier for you. Take a piece of paper about 5 inches wide, about 6 inches in length. At the bottom, create a punch hole for yourself. Make a mark at the center, 1/2 inch below that, and then fold it on that line right there. At the sewing machine, you can use this now as your guide. We'll place this on the machine. We'll line this with our punch hole on the fabric. So right along the edge of our fabric from here down to the bottom and terminate 1/2 inch beyond our punch hole. Backstitching at the beginning and at the end. One more point before we get to the sewing machine. When I place my template and I sew to the termination point here and I start here, I'll backstitch at the edge. Personally, I don't like to backstitch at the end of the dart point. What happens is that you get extra bulk there. I prefer myself to backstitch here, come to about 1/2 inch before the end, and then drop my stitch length down. And then instead of backstitching, tie the ends. It makes a much cleaner finish and doesn't create as much bulk. Align your template with the notches at the top. Place your punch hole indicator at the level of the punch hole, and then bring the line that's 1/2 inch below the punch hole to 1/2 inch below your pattern piece. When you come off the edge of the fabric at the vanishing point, leave thread tails and then come back and knot them. Be careful that you don't snug them up too tight. You don't want to draw up the fabric at all. Leave about 1/4 inch of a thread tail when you're done. Once the dart has been sewn, it's time for pressing. When you press, you want to press on a tailor's ham. We want to do that so that we don't flatten out the garment. So at this point, we now have shape that we want to retain, and we want to put it on a contoured shape that will help us retain that. On the front of a bodice, we'll direct the dart intake toward the center front. For the back of a bodice, we'll direct the dart intake toward the center back. But that can change. I prefer to press from the face side, give a little bit of a finger press first, and the biggest challenge is right here where the termination point is. We want to make certain there is no buckling there at that, no ripple, no pucker. It needs to just vanish right into the edge of the fabric. Once the exercise is complete, finish the edges and give a final press. And assess your work. Is the dart sewn straight? Does the point terminate cleanly? And when you're done, when I lay it on the table, it should not lay flat on the table in this area right here. It should mound up a little bit because we've just created shape. If it's flat, then you've pressed all the shape out of it and we've lost the intention of the dart.